This video will show some of the new features in OpenBridge Modeler. First one is traffic barriers modification, which is after the traffic barrier modeling, we can modify traffic barrier paths. The other one is beam report includes distances in between bearing center lines. And then the last one is deck elevation report now includes a consolidated deck report with some additional new features. This is a bridge model where we already have modeled the traffic barrier over the deck. Here, what will we do? We will modify the location of the traffic barrier. So to do that, we need to come here and select going into the properties and then point control path so that we can edit. So we go into there and this path we can change. So we can go into here and currently the traffic barrier is in this location. So let's say we want to change it to this location on the center. So what we're gonna do is this is at P0. This is currently at P5, so we'll take it to P0 and then okay. So it does come in the middle. So the same way, basically it is wrong here, so we're gonna take it back to the original location. There, we can go in there and we'll go to take it to 0.5. Now for this bridge, we will see the beam reports. To see the beam report, we need to come into the analysis and reports, and in there we have beams. So if we come into beam, so the beam report comes up. So the new features we have added here is the bearing to bearing distance. So if we can see support line 1 to support line 2, support line 1 to support line 2, bearing to bearing distance is 24.4, which we can see here. The bearing to bearing is 24.4. Here I'll show the bearings. Here we can see the bearings. So this distance is showing from this center line to this center line. So the same way that all other distances are shown here, 29.4, 29.4, 19.4. So if we come here, so other spans are 29.4, 29.4 and 19.4. So this is the distance added in the beam report. The true lengths and projected lengths are the same length because there is no a slope for this bridge. So that's why these lengths are same. And rotation is 0 degree as well. Now for this bridge, we'll have a look the deck reports. To do that, we need to come into the analysis report and then deck. Start limit, end limit, accept. So here we know this is support line 1, we selected support line 5 end limit, and then points per span how many points we want for the deck elevation points. So here let's say we have 3 points per span, and transverse lines. These lines are parallel to a start support line. So transverse lines, that would be a start support parallel to a start supports line. And this report type, we can have reports as we had previously, like a station offset elevation separate tables, but also now we have consolidated report. And then here we have the references where we will get the elevations. So I'll select all of these and then we'll go into the report and I'll show those elements. So this is the consolidated report. So we'll close this. We have created a section here looking towards up station. So the view is here. So we can see a start support line, a start bearing line, and then 1, 2, 3 end bearing line, end support line. These are the transverse lines which is parallel to first support line we have selected in that window at the very beginning. So start support line, which is this one at the first support, and then we have a start bearing line. So the first support line is here, and then a start bearing line is the bearing center line. So if we go into the report, then start support line, start bearing line, and then 1, 2, 3, because we have 3 points in between one span. We selected 3 points at the beginning, and then end bearing line and end support as usual with the end bearing line and end support line. So these are the transverse lines. Now what about those? We know if we come here, we can see this is exactly what we see on the cross sections from left to right. So we see here barrier 1 left edge. So barrier 1 is the left one and left edge is this one, this point. So this is highlighted here, and then deck edge left with offset 0. There is no offset. So this one is again this point, and then barrier 1 right edge. So it's again the barrier 1 right edge, this one. Then beam path with offset 0, beam L is this is the beam L, left beam. And then we have the alignment with offset deck 1, alignment 1. We have the beam 2 as well, which is this one, beam 2, and then alignment is the center line of the alignment, road alignment where center line. So we have the alignment with offset, deck alignment. And then we have beam path with offset, beam 3. So, and then we have beam 4 and beam right. So beam 4 is this one and beam right is this one. So beam 3 is basically this one, and this beam 3 and alignment coincide in this model. And then what we have is barrier to left edge, which is this one, barrier to left edge, and then deck edge right with offset 0. So this one is the deck edge right with offset 0, and then barrier to right edge, which is this point. And at those points we got all the elevations. So this is the for span 1, this is for span 2, and then the subsequent spans are there, span 3 and span 4.